I'm Hayley. I recently passed SQE 2 on my first attempt. I studied law as an undergraduate at Cambridge. When I graduated university, I moved back to Nottingham and I took a role for a group of property services companies called SDL Group. I looked after legal there for 4 years. And while I was there, I studied the LPC and the LLM whilst I worked full-time. I graduated from that course in 2020. And then in 2022, I took the current role that I have at DLA Piper. I work in the projects team in Leeds, and I specialise in renewable energy power purchase agreements, voluntary carbon markets, and sustainability. I took SQE 2. I didn't have to sit SQE 1 because I'd already done the LPC. The reason I took SQE 2 to qualify instead of qualifying via the LPC route is that traditionally when you qualify via the LPC, you sit 4 seats. So you do 4 6-month seats in different teams and different areas of law. And that is really useful for giving you a grounding in lots of different areas of law and different approaches to working. Because I had worked for 4 years in-house, I didn't need the depth of experience of different areas of law because I'd had such general experience before. So in order to specialise and qualify as a specialised lawyer, I'm spending all of my 2 years qualifying work experience working on power purchase agreements for renewable energy projects, sustainability and voluntary carbon market carbon credit projects. I decided to take a prep course for SQE 2 because it had been a couple of years since I finished the LPC and the topics covered by the SQE exams are not topics, most of them are not topics that I do in my everyday life. I chose to do a prep course to make sure that I was used to the format of the new exams and the new syllabus. I chose QLTS because they had a lot of mock exams prepared. They'd taken the time to look at the new syllabus, to look at the way that the exams were going to be marked this time and update their content accordingly. And I also really appreciated the opportunity to practice mock exams with a tutor, mock oral exams. Nobody likes oral exams, so it was really nice to be able to go through those with my tutor so that when I got in the exam room with the examiner, it felt like what I had been doing at home with my tutor. I really enjoyed studying with QLTS. It was not structured, which was really useful for me because I was studying while I worked full-time. So if I had had to try and comply with somebody else's diary or timeline or study plan, that wouldn't have worked for me. Those resources were available if I wanted to, and my tutor helped me to plan my study. But the fact that I had access to all of the material, all of the training videos, all of the mocks, and could pick and choose how I revised and how I studied was really helpful to me. My favourite part about the QLTS preparation course for SQE 2 was the huge resource of mock exams. So I am a huge believer that the best way to prepare for any exam is to do mock exams, to learn directly in the context of the examination that you're sitting, not learn it first and then learn how to sit the exam second. Just learn that together through doing mock exams, and that's the way that I learned the content. There were so many that I didn't have to learn the content and then have a go at a couple of mock exams. I could revise and learn all of the content through the medium of mock exams, which was fantastic for the way that I like to study. When I was preparing for SQE 2, I was still working full-time, but what I did was I worked half days, or I tried to work half days where I could, for 9 weeks. That's the amount of study time that I had, so I started preparing in August of last year and I sat my SQE 2 exams in October of last year. That worked really well for me because it was an intense study period. I did study in the evenings and at weekends as well, particularly in the couple of weeks before the exams. But I think that if I hadn't sat the LPC, I certainly would have needed a lot longer to prepare for SQE2. I work with DLA Piper and my firm was very supportive of my study. So when I was hired at DLA, we specifically had the plan that I would qualify via SQE2 as a specialised sustainability lawyer. So they've been on board right from the start. They allowed me to work half days for 9 weeks to study for the course and to take the time off that I needed to have off to sit the exams, and they've been supportive of my qualifying work experience throughout. I felt really well prepared for SQE2 with the work that I'd done with my QLTS prep course. I felt like I knew exactly what was coming with the oral exams. I felt very comfortable in the oral exams, and the written exams as well were very much like all of the mocks that I had done in my course. So I felt like I had prepared very well for the exams. Passing the SQE has been a huge help for me in my legal career. I was a generalist when I worked in-house, and qualifying via the SQE has allowed me to complete specialised work experience, which means that when I qualify, I will qualify as a specialised renewable energy and sustainability lawyer. That kind of specialism prior to qualification is not always something that is possible when you qualify via the LPC, so I'm incredibly grateful that sitting the SQE has allowed me to do that. I definitely think that a preparation course is necessary for the SQE2 assessment. The assessment is made up of 16 different assessments, so having that preparation is key to making sure that you perform as well as you should. I would absolutely recommend the SQE qualification route. My advice to people thinking of qualifying in this way would be to seek support from your employer. It's a new qualification route, but law firms are more and more supportive of flexible routes into law. Do as many mock exams as you can and try to get used to the assessment format. Even if you have sat the LPC previously, do as much practice as you can. And finally, make sure that you're comfortable with oral exams. There's 4 of them in SQE2. They can be a little bit intimidating sometimes, so make sure you get the practice in with a tutor and that they are something that you will not feel nervous about on the day. In my experience, the skills that make a successful solicitor today are technical ability, commercial awareness, which I sometimes think is a skill that is undersold for lawyers, and similarly, personability, emotional intelligence is important and is becoming increasingly important to delivering service for clients.